I'm Anthony Elmore, President and Founder of the Proud Black Buddhist World Association. We at the Proud Black Buddhist World Association practice the Buddhist teachings as taught by the 13th century Japanese Buddhist sage Nichiren Shonin. The word Nichiren means sun lotus and Shonin means priest. My lecture today is Bodhidharma, founder of Zen Buddhism, a Black Buddhist history lesson by Anthony Elmore. We see Buddhism as some Asian meditating on a mountain. Many Buddhist teachers travel from India to China to introduce Buddhism. Now, what most Asians do not tell black people, or what they do not teach, is the fact that Buddhism did not get to Asia or did not get to China until 1,000 years after the death of the Buddha. Now, the Buddha was born in what is known as Magadha. The Magadha Empire was started by a man by the name of Sisu Naga. Sisu Naga started the Magadha Empire, and all of the people in the Magadha Empire, it was a black empire. You can look this up, you can study this. There's a book called the Royal Asiatic Society. They put out a book, it's a free book, just Google the Royal Asiatic Society of Britain and Ireland, and you would learn the true history of Buddhism and find out that the Buddhists were black people. Now, and one of the most famous black Buddhists in history is Bodhidharma, who came from southern India. He came from southern India between the 5th and the 6th century, and clearly Bodhidharma was a black Buddhist. Now, those of you who are learning Buddhism from the Proud Black Buddhist World Association, please understand that while Zen Buddhism and the way of Buddhist meditation is popular throughout Asia, such teachings are wrong Buddhist teachings. We can say that Bodhidharma also misled Asian people in regards to the correct Buddhist teachings. Just because it was started by a black man does not make the teachings correct. Now, we at the Proud Black Buddhist World Association was taught Buddhism by the 13th century Japanese Buddhist sage Nichiren Shonin. Nichiren teaches us that it is only the Lotus Sutra that is the highest teaching of the Buddha, and we should only practice the Lotus Sutra. Now, when you look around the world, or you look at the Shaolin Temple, Bodhidharma started the Shaolin Temple in China, and of course in Japan we have the Zen school. Now, this is what Nichiren writes. Now, the Gosho is called Letters to the Brothers, and this is what Nichiren mentions about Zen Buddhism. And Nichiren writes, quote, Bodhidharma and Hakudo calls them to stray into the Zen school, while Shanto and Honen trick them into believing the Meditation Sutra. In each case, the devil king of the sixth heaven possessed these men of wisdom in order to deceive people. This is what the Lotus Sutra means when it says in the 5th volume, quote, evil demons take possession of others, unquote. See, it is the Lotus Sutra that teaches us that Zen and the meditation schools are not the correct Buddhism. Now, Nichiren Shonin goes further, and you should read the Gosho. It's called Letter to the Brothers. He goes further. He says, quote, the great demon of fundamental darkness can even enter the bodies of bodhisattvas who have reached near perfect enlightenment and prevent them from attaining the Lotus Sutra's blessings of perfect enlightenment. How easily can he then obstruct those in any lower stage of practice? The devil king of the sixth heaven takes possession of the bodies of wives and children and cause them to lead their husbands or parents astray. He also possesses the sovereign in order to threaten the votary of the Lotus Sutra, or possess fathers and mothers and make them reproach their finality devoted children. Unquote. So, you see, ladies and gentlemen, even in the world of Buddhism, in regards to understanding Black Buddhist history, please understand, or please note, that Bodhidharma came from southern India, where the people even today are Black. We told you that Magadha was founded by Sisu Naga. When you hear the word Naga, you are talking about Black people. When you read Buddhist history, you hear the word Naga Juna. We are talking about Black Buddhists. Please understand, just as Bodhidharma was a Black man from southern India, Nagarjuna was a Black who came from southern India. Please look at the dragon in China, Korea, and Japan. This culture came from Blacks who introduced Buddhism to the Asians. Now, we at the proud Black Buddhist World Association challenge the way Buddhism is taught in the world. While today Buddhism is dominated by Asians, it is Nichiren who quote in the Gosho, and that is letter from Sado and banishment to Sado, that he was from the family of the Chandala. Now, the Chandala were the Black oppressed people of India. Now, you must understand that Japanese history too is also Black history. But what is happening is that the Japanese do not tell you that the original people of Japan were Black people, and many Black people were a part of Japanese history, culture, and the language. Now, in 1923, this is in regards to Japan, anthropologist Roland B. Dixon wrote that, quote, the earliest population of Japan were in the main blend of Proto-Australoid and Proto-Negroid types, and thus similar in the ancient underlying stratum of the population, south along the whole coast throughout Indochina and beyond India itself, unquote. See, Dixon pointed out that in Japan, the ancient Negro or Negrito element may still be discerned by characteristics which are in the same exterior and orthologic. Now, do not take the words of Anthony Elmore. I want you to please view a YouTube video that was put together and uploaded by Japanese scientists that tells you about the Black history of Japan. Now, I learned Buddhism from the Japanese sects Nichiren Choshu, Nichiren Shu, and the SGI. And these Japanese purposely and maliciously extricate all Black history, language, and culture from Buddhism, and they do not tell you about your Black Buddhist history. Let's first of all take a look at the video that clearly and empirically proves that the Black history and culture of early Japan. Japan was a part of Black history and culture as well. The people of Japan today are not the people of ancient Japan, and by today's standards, Nichiren Shonin is considered black. I want you to look at the picture of Nichiren shown in the most accurate portrayal of him, and you would find he does not look like today's Japanese. First of all, let's look at this video that the Japanese produced and come back and put a period on this lecture. And my lecture is Bodhidharma was the founder of Zen Buddhism. That's who we're talking about. Let's look at the video and come back and put a closure on this.
では、日本人の祖先はアフリカからどのようにして日本列島にやってきたのでしょうか。私たちの祖先の一部は中近東を経てヨーロッパに渡る集団と分かれアジアに移動しました。人々は移り住んだ土地の環境によって白人、黒人、黄色人種という特徴を獲得していきました。気候風土の違いの大きいアジア大陸ではモンゴロイドも多様に変化していきました。その中に12000年前に日本列島に移動し縄文の文化を築いた集団がいたのです。それからさらに1万年後、別の集団が再び日本列島に渡ってきました。蓬莱博士はさらに東アジアの5つの集団のミトコンドリア DNA を分析し、日本人の成り立ちを調べました。その結果は思いがけないものでした。蓬莱博士によると、本州の日本人では日本人固有のタイプはわずかに 4.8% しかありませんでした。それに対して韓国人や中国人と共通の配列を持つ人がおよそ 50% にも達することが分かりました。さらにアイヌや沖縄と共通のタイプを持つ人が4分の1もおり、多様な集団で成り立つことが判明したのです。一方、韓国人では韓国人に固有の配列は 40%、中国人では 60% もありました。
本州の人たちというのは遺伝的にあまりその特徴がなくて、むしろ大陸というか中国とか韓国人のそういう特徴が非常に多く含まれるということが分かったわけです。決してその遺伝的に均一な集団ではないということが分かったわけです。
アジア大陸から日本列島に渡ってきたモンゴロイド。これまで一つだと思われてきた縄文人、一つだと思われてきた弥生人も、実はそれぞれ多様な集団だったのです。
現代の日本人は決して単一な集団ではなく、中国大陸や朝鮮半島の人々と深いつながりを持っていることが分かりました。しかも日本人のルーツは縄文か弥生かという単純なものではありませんでした。こうしてミトコンドリア DNA を手がかりに人類の設計図をたどってみると、当然のことながら人種の区別や国家による国境などは全く見えません。そこに見えるのは大自然の一員として生きている人という存在だけなのです。
You saw the video that tells you empirically that black people was a part of the ancient Japanese culture and history. I want you to think of it. In America today, and it's the year 2016 that I'm doing this lecture. Now, if you go back 250 years ago, you will find that the people who occupied this land, the dominant people are those who we call Native American. Now, the demographics changed just as the demographics changed in America. The demographics of the population changed in Japan. The Japanese who we see today are not the Japanese of old. when you look back at Japanese history and culture, you will find that black people were very much an intricate part of Japanese history and culture, and they're not like the Japanese of today who purposely extricate all black history, culture, and language from the Buddhist teachings. Now, let's get back to our topic. Now, our topic again is Bodhidharma, founder of Zen Buddhism, a black history lesson by Anthony Elmore. Now, Nichiren Shonin called Zen Buddhism demonic. Now, in the Gosho, letter to the brothers, he explained that, quote, the great demon of fundamental darkness can even enter the bodies of bodhisattvas who have reached near perfect enlightenment. How easily can he then obstruct those in the lower stage of practice? The devil king of the sixth heaven takes possession of the bodies of wives and children and calls them to lead their husbands or parents astray. He also possessed the servant in order to threaten the votary of the Lotus Sutra, or possess fathers and mothers and make them approach their finality devoted children, unquote. This is what happened to many black people who study Buddhism from Asians. Many are possessed by the demon of fundamental darkness. Their ignorance to black Buddhist history allows them to be led astray via fundamental darkness. Let us make one thing clear. Race has nothing to do with it, whether you're black, white, brown, or yellow. The demon of fundamental darkness can enter your body. While Bodhidharma was black, his Zen teachings to this day is still misleading people. This is why Nichiren Shonin says that Zen was demonic. Even when we look back to the history of the great Mahayana Buddhist teacher, Nagarjuna, Nichiren explains that Nagarjuna did not teach the Lotus Sutra. Now, in the Gosho, it's called The Selection of Time, it reads, quote, question, do you mean to say that Nagarjuna, Vasubandhu, and others did not teach the true meaning of the Lotus Sutra? Answer, that is correct. They did not teach it. Question, then what doctrines did they teach? Answer, they taught the doctrines of provisional Mahayana, the various esoteric and esoteric teachings such as the flower garden, correct and equal, and the Vajrayana Sutras, but they did not teach the doctrines of the Lotus Sutra. Now, unquote, in regards to Bodhidharma and Zen Buddhism and meditation, this is not the correct Buddhist teachings, and Nichiren writes this in the Gosho. Now, the Gosho that you must understand and get a clear understanding that meditation that we see around the world is not the correct Buddhist teachings. Now, in the Gosho, it's called the Doctrine of the 3,000 Realms. It reads, quote, chanting the Daimoku, or title of the Lotus Sutra, is the same as carrying out meditation. Ignorant persons may find this difficult to believe, but the second volume of Great Concentration and Insight by Tentai has a passage, quote, regarding recitation and silence, in which the word recitation refers to the recitation of the Lotus Sutra and silence to the practice of meditation or contemplation. And again, the first volume of his Meaning of the Four Teachings, Tentai states, quote, not only are such practices as recitation not a needless waste of effort. They are essential in enabling one to grasp the principle involved. Unquote. Now, Nichiren further writes, now this is the Doctrine of the 3,000 Realms, he further writes, quote, in the Lotus Sutra, we find the doctrine directly stated. We find it taught through similes, and we find it taught through explanation of causes and conditions in the past. In passages where the doctrine is directly stated, the original purpose for which the Buddha appears in the world is set forward. The direct path by which all living beings can attain Buddhahood. And Daimoku represents the causes and conditions that permits not only us, but all living beings to proceed directly to the place of enlightenment. Unquote. Now, Nichiren goes on further. He says, this is what he says. He says, the Zen school reveres the practice of meditation or observation of the mind as the original purpose for which the Buddha appears in the world, when in fact it is only one aspect of the four guidelines mentioned earlier. If meditation on the 3,000 realms in a single moment of life and the threefold contemplation in a single mind were in fact the heart and core of the Lotus Sutra, then the 10 factors would have been mentioned in the Daimoku or title of the sutra. But of course, the Daimoku is simply Myoho Renge Kyo, and so there is no need for any further discussion. Unquote. See, Nichiren explains that meditation or observation of the mind is only one aspect. They miss the four guidelines. Let's hear what Nichiren writes about the matter. He writes, quote, the great teacher Tentai was a reincarnation of Bodhisattva, Medicine Kingdom, and in his commentaries he discussed the merits of reciting the sutra and those of meditation. To begin with, in his commentaries he defined four guidelines for interpreting the words and phrases of the Lotus Sutra, namely causes and conditions, correlated teachings, theoretical and essential teachings, and observation of the mind. But persons who do not understand the importance of these four types of interpretation are likely to apply only one type, interpretation, turning all their attention to the way in which the passage relates to the theoretical and essential teachings, or turning their attention to how it relates to observation of the mind. Unquote. You see, in common sense terms, Buddhist schools who concentrate only on meditation have a myopic view or a shallow understanding of life and the correct Buddhist practice. I think we said enough. This is a quick Buddhist lesson, and I am Anthony F. Elmore, President and Founder of the Proud Black Buddhist World Association. Thank you very much. Get down on my knees and I pray every day. I pray the Lord will suit your way. I pray every day to do my best to practice peace and love and respect. I get down on my knees and I pray every day. I pray the Lord will suit your way. Devotion to the mystic law and cause and effect teaching. I believe, and wisdom reaching. I get down on my knees and I pray every day.